So today we're recording from the office, and I felt that this was a good setting to discuss documentation that's going to be required of you if you decide to foster adopt, or even go through a private agency or international agency. Now, as I said before, we've gone through the process in Georgia, we've gone through a private agency, and we are now finishing up in Alabama. So all agencies that we have worked with have required a certain level of disclosure. In fact, full disclosure. That brings about a lot of, uncertainty on the potential parents' side. How much information is too much information? I feel like I'm being put on trial. I feel like I have to throw my life out there so everyone can see everything about me, things that I feel are very personal and private, things that I don't want shared with everyone. This also becomes a huge deal if you're living in the community and your social worker is a member of your community or a member of your church, or you have some other social connectivity. People don't want their medical records or the thought. It's not that the social worker would. In fact, they're bound by privacy laws not to, but it's the fact that you're going to go to the market and run into Susan, who just saw your file, who now knows your income level, your medical history, any diagnosis you might have. And those are very sensitive subjects, and rightly so. So I just wanted to do a very basic overview. This is probably not an inclusive list, but I somewhat want to lead you through what's going to be required on your end to get the ball rolling if this is something you choose to pursue. The list of documents is fairly simple, but it is lengthy, and it can be added to at any time. I had already made this video once, but realized after I did that there were certain things that I left out and there was a better approach. So the first thing, very, very obvious, should be your birth certificate, your marriage certificate, any sort of divorce decrees that you may have had, and they will want an explanation as to why you divorced, how long ago it was, so forth and so on. Your children's birth certificates, your social security number, your healthcare insurance policy or a copy of the card, your children's healthcare policy and or a copy of the card, your homeowner's insurance, your car insurance, a copy of your car registration, and if you own your home, which is not a necessity, but if you do own your home, then usually, or it's not uncommon, if they want a copy of the deed, and that's okay. So then moving right along, they're going to ask for a few more things. Like here we have the certificate of vaccination for the animals. Your dogs and your cats have to be up to date on their rabies, if nothing else. And it has to be within the year. Another document that they will ask you to file is your financials. And I'm just going to kind of flash that there because that's ours, our personal information. And even though we're really open, we have to be, if you live this lifestyle, you do have to be open. But that is our expenses worksheet, our financial worksheet, and it lists our debts, it lists our, any stocks you might have, anything you own, any cars you own, any bills you may have, what you spend on recreation, church or charity, tithing, what you have in savings. I mean, all of these things are important to disclose, and they're going to ask you. So you need to go ahead and sort of organize your expenses. If you have a great deal of indebtedness, you may want to work on paying that down if at all possible. They're going to ask for references. References are people you may go to church with. They're your family. They're going to be close friends or confidants, preferably people that you've known a long time. So make certain you touch base with the people that you intend to give as references prior to, because otherwise the person's not going to be looking for the call or email. They may not return the call or the email, and you're going to be out there beating the bushes trying to get these references in, and they are important in the home study process. You will be required, we had not had to do this prior to this proceeding or, path, but now you are required to sign a reference release of information. And basically that is giving, this is our agency we're working with, but basically that is giving the agency that you're working with your permission, your written permission. You'll fill out your name and you'll fill out your references here, and then you're giving this agency the right to contact them and talk about your or their opinion of your financial stability and decision making, your parenting skills or your parenting style. It's going to ask some personal questions, and sometimes your references may not feel comfortable answering those questions either. So make certain whomever you choose that it's someone who is going to be comfortable filling out that information, and preferably somebody who's going to give you a good reference or a good report. So to further the conversation, I'm going to also let you know that you will be required to have a physical, and your doctor will fill out the paperwork for you. It's just a basic questionnaire and physical. They'll have to provide your blood pressure reading, your weight, all of the basic things that you do every time you go to the doctor. They may request lab work. They may request a pap smear result, and it also needs to be within the past year. So it seems like a lot. It is a lot. So just stay on top of it. What I've done is I have actually compiled all of our information, in a binder. And this one actually is one of my children's medical records. And of course you see here I've tabbed pretty important things in this binder so that they're easy to locate and easy to find. So I do this for everyone in the home, and yes, it does help. That way, if the caseworker or the social worker or the agency has a question, you can find what you need, let them get a copy, or make them their own binder with your information in it, with your basic information in it, and hand it over. They're very appreciative of that. It makes it move along very smoothly, much more smoothly. Another option is just to, have a manila envelope with the information in it. Make your copies and hand over the folder. We've also, I do that often for the teachers at school. In fact, this is one that I used last week at a meeting at school. But I commonly use this when I'm going to discuss a particular matter. I'll make a folder and have all the information and copies in there that they need to see. So that works as well. I cannot stress enough, the organization is the key. The most sensitive thing that I think people have an issue with, and this is because I've talked with people at different support group meetings or just in general, and the number one big deal is, and the elephant in the room, is the criminal background check. A lot of people will say, well, I would do that, but I have something on my record, and then I'm not going to be able to be a foster parent or an adoptive parent because of this thing, and I'm just not going to waste my time and try. Okay. If the thing is domestic abuse or domestic violence, an act of aggression or a criminal act, or on a child. I mean, obviously, if you're on the sex offender registry, you're not going to be approved. But if you're looking at something, it's a misdemeanor charge, and it was more of a civil issue, like, even things like petty crimes, depending on how many years it's been, those things are going to be overlooked. They're going to just, they'll ask you a few questions and move forward. So you will have to disclose something, and it's just better to do that up front. In fact, that, in my opinion, is one of the first things you need to discuss with your potential social worker or caseworker, because they will be able to pretty much tell you within a very short period of time, is this something that is going to affect your process or not? So, if there's a question, you need to be very forthright and bring it up. Don't go through the process, and then when it comes time to have your FBI clearance and your state clearance, your local clearance, say, oh, by the way, because it also looks like maybe you try and hide something. So I just have always thought the best thing to do is be upfront, cut and dry. This is what it was. This is when it happened. And like I said, many things are non-factors. And I realize that it is very difficult to have someone rifling through your life, your personal business, your bills, your medical record, your criminal record, and even go so far as to follow up and make certain that, your kids are vaccinated. But unfortunately, there does have to be a standard put in place. They can't just pick and choose and treat one person a certain way and the other person a different way. So, that's part of it. So I hope that this helps you see that you're not alone in your fears and concerns and your mix of feelings about the disclosure of information. It's very common to be very frustrated, very agitated, raise an eyebrow about some of the questions that they will ask you. But, just a word to the wise, be very upfront, be very frank, and disclose everything, and you'll be fine. I guess it boils down to, your need for privacy versus your need or want to be a foster or adoptive parent. It's kind of a personal choice, and everyone's different and everyone has a different answer.